Hello, my friend Alonso here. Today I'm going to show you how to synthesize a big unison lead that sounds like this. You can do it on any subtractive synthesizer of your choice. Let's get right to it. So the patch you heard is included in the Synthwave Dojo free sound bank for the free and awesome GR8 synth, but I'm going to show you how to create it from scratch. First things first, let's initialize our patch by going here into presets, then the user category if you have the Synthwave Dojo sound bank, and then clicking on the ST init mono. Let's head back into the synth tab. All right, so this is what we're working with. Lovely, right? Okay. Let's set the voice mode to unison. Great. Let's set the mix to 50-50 so we get a little bit of action from both oscillators and detune them just a little. And by default, the amp envelope is set to immediate attack, sustain all the way up, and the release about 25% up. The decay doesn't matter when the sustain is all the way up. Great. So from here, let's do a couple of things. Let's add some effects. Let's activate the chorus. Let's activate the delay. With a little bit of high cut and low cut. Very nice. A little bit of reverb or a lot of reverb, depending on your taste. Or bad taste, if you're like me, you love a lot of reverb. So pretty much our patch is almost there. Let's tweak a couple more things. So currently we're not using the filter, so the filter is completely open. So the sound is very bright, raspy. Of course, we could bring the cutoff just down a little bit or halfway. Maybe right there it's too dark. Somewhere here. And we can experiment with the slope. If we go with a 24 dB proactive slope, it's going to sound darker at its current position. And that's cool. We can experiment with adding a little bit of resonance. Great. Also, what we can do is set the oscillator mode to glide between the notes. Right here, you can hear the attack of every note as I play it. That's cool, but also applying glide can be very nice. So let's turn up the glide control and see what it does. Depending on your synth, if you're not following along on GR8, you may have a couple of different glide modes. There's like always glide, where no matter what you play, there will be a glide from one note to the next. Or there's sometimes a glide mode where the glide only happens when you continue holding down one note while playing the next. So that's the glide setting that we have in GR8. You have to continue holding down your first note and play the second for the glide to take effect. Listen. Okay, maybe we don't want it to be so slow. Nice. We can also play with the detune and the spread of the unison. So if you bring it all the way down, the sound takes on a metallic-y character, which you may or may not like. Definitely play with increasing the detune. Right there sounds really good. And also playing with the spread. Maybe you don't want this big unison lead to take up so much space and feel stereo. Although because we have here the chorus activated, it's always going to feel stereo. But for example, right now, appreciate how mono it feels. But as we turn up the spread knob, it feels more stereo. Okay, so you can play with that and tweak it to your liking. Or maybe you like the chorus sound, but bring down the spread and bring down the spread here. And you get a more of a mono sound still with chorus and with a nice detune. But let's bring them to where they were. Okay, and from here, there's just a couple more things we can do, but it's very satisfying where it's at right now. A very cool thing to do with leads when programming and playing leads is to use articulations and a little bit of pitch bend and vibrato to make it sound kind of like a guitar solo. So in order to do that, we're gonna assign the mod wheel to vibrato, and the pitch bend, we're gonna set it to a useful interval, such as a perfect fifth or a perfect octave. I think a perfect fifth is more usable than a perfect octave, but let's play with both. So here on GR8, we have our mod wheel. Let's bring this filter control down so it doesn't affect the filter. And then we're gonna play with this pitch control, which will cause the LFO here to modulate the pitch. So let me bring this mod wheel all the way up just to hear what it's doing. If I turn it up a little, you get a little bit of the effect. And if you turn it all the way up, you get a very wacky effect. Let's leave it all the way up, and now let's play with the speed of the LFO. You could set it to any of these waves or waveforms that you like, but I think a vibrato sounds best with a sine wave. Think there sounds fine. And of course, we're not gonna push our mod wheel all the way up necessarily, just a little bit. For example, yeah, you can go super crazy like this. Probably around here feels best. Cool, and finally, let's set the pitch bend to a very usable and satisfying interval, such as a perfect fifth. For that, let's also bring this filter control down so the pitch bend wheel doesn't affect the filter. And here's a tricky thing. This control doesn't give us semitone values. It just goes from 0 to 100. So doing a little math, a perfect fifth is 7 semitones. So by rule of 3, I figured out that 7 semitones on a scale of 0 to 100 equals 50... Oops, what was it? Let me check. 58.3. Okay, I'm holding down my control key while I adjust this to get a fine value. So 58.3. Now, if I play a note and push the pitch bend wheel all the way up, I should get a perfect fifth. So as reference, here's C. This is G, perfect fifth up. So if I push up the pitch wheel while playing C, I should get this note, G. Let's test it. Yeah, perfectly. So now we can play stuff like this. And you can go crazy with that kind of thing. Finally, of course, we can play with the filter and use the envelope to control the filter action. Although I feel that just as we did it today sounds very good. And one more thing, if you feel that the patch is too big, like it's taking too much space in your arrangement, of course you can increase the high pass filter here to get rid of some of the low end, to thin it out. And in a very thick and busy arrangement, probably you don't need all the low end. You just need most of the mids and the highs. So here would be a very good place to set it. But in any case, like I said, we could also use the envelope to control the filter. Like so. And with a little bit of resonance, you can create more of a spacey kind of lead. Alright, my friend, I hope you liked it, and as always, let me know if you have any questions or comments. Make great use of this Big Unison Lead. Until the next one, ciao.